Hello and welcome to Gadget Joe, and today we take a look at Thermaltake's V200 tempered glass RGB chassis. Thermaltake has done it again with another tempered glass case for less than £70, and this time they've even added some RGB fans right out of the box too. Before we take a look at the internals of a chassis, let's focus quickly at the aesthetics of a V200, and it certainly doesn't disappoint. With a sleek, modern and premium look, it doesn't look like a sub £70 case at all. Featuring a full 4mm tempered glass side panel that fills the entire side of a chassis for viewing your system inside. What's more is the panel is tinted enough to hide away any unsightly stray cables, but transparent enough for you to see the system, and especially good for showing off your lighting. Removing the glass panel is as simple as unscrewing the 4 thumb screws in each corner. You will notice that the V200 features the same safe mounting mechanism as seen in previous models, with rubber washers and sockets that hold the glass in place even with the screws out to stop the glass from falling off and smashing. The front of the chassis is another solid panel with a curve to one side that wraps the corner of the chassis to provide a seamless appearance, a design influence seen on the likes of a level 20 range. This solid panel is also tinted, but is made from acrylic instead of glass. The lights of the fans shine through the tinted panel fantastically and almost give off a floating appearance, which is a real nice touch. Moving to the opposite side of the case, and you get a more standard matte black metal panel that fills the entire side. This is removed via 2 thumb screws at the rear and sliding away from the chassis. At the top of the case you get another metal panel, this time with a magnetic dust filter on the top, that can simply pull away to clean and for access to the mounting for your cooling underneath. The magnets are nice and strong, and the filter is very durable and sits flush when in place, and can be cleaned underwater if needed. Just be sure to dry it off before you put it back in. At the base of the top panel you get the external I/O panel, featuring from left to right a large power button, power and loading lights, reset button, RGB switch for changing the light modes, USB 2, auxiliary and mic ports, a second USB 2, and finally a single USB 3 port, so there is plenty of connectivity available. At the rear of the case you get a pretty generic layout with a base mounted PSU bracket, 8 expansion slots, motherboard I/O cutout and a rear exhaust fan grille for the included 120mm fan. The V200 does have a little party trick at the back here however, in the form of a securing panel for the expansion slots. With this thumb screw, rather than having the panel completely removable, it simply slides to the right to allow mounting of your cards, and then it slides right back over and secures in place. No more fiddling around with that little panel anymore. Let's now turn our attention to the internals of a V200, and we'll start with the rear side. Remove the panel and you are presented with a large cutout for the motherboard rear cooling mounts, PSU shroud for storage and power supply, a large amount of cables for both the I/O connectivity, but also the included RGB fans and controller, a bag containing some accessories, and the rear fan cable. As for the I/O connectivity, you get a USB 3 header, audio and USB headers, and the power and reset headers. The reason for the majority of these cables is down to the included Rgb Controller that comes right out of the box. The controller is a small board that features an LED output for strip lights, the rear fan feeds in here, whilst the 3 RGB fans sit below here. At the bottom you get a motherboard in feed that connects your controller to the relevant board for synchronisation, which in turn means you can control and sync the fans with the likes of ASUS's Aura Sync, Gigabyte RGB Fusion, MSI Mystic Light Sync, ASRock RGB LED, and BioStar Vivid LED DJ software suites. Moving back down to the bottom of the case you can see there is ample space available within the shroud for your PSU and cables. Underneath the case is a dust filter that slides out for maintenance and simply slides back in place like so. To the left is the storage space, and to mount the drives in this chassis you take the screws that are in the accessories bag and fit them to your drive, and they then simply slide into position on these rails, which is super simple and super effective. Move round to the front side of a chassis and you are greeted with a surprisingly large amount of space considering the small form factor of the chassis. Focusing on a Shroud in particular, you will notice a cutout here for showcasing your PSU, and of course further spacing for extra ventilation for your hard drives to the right. The Shroud is full length too. As for the business end, you get an included 120mm rear exhaust fan, space for top mounted fans, motherboard tray with support for a full-sized ATX down to mini ATX or micro ATX boards, 8 expansion slots, further mounting for reservoirs along the side of a motherboard tray, and to the right you get the 3 included 120mm Rgb fans with space for mounting either a 240 or 280mm radiator, or alternatively 2 140mm fans instead. Now let's move on to those fans that I know you've been waiting to see. The lights start off by cycling through the RGB lighting mode. Press the button again to go through the single colour modes from red, yellow, green, cyan, blue, white and purple. The next press will repeat these same colours, but you will now get a breathing light effect. And last but not least, pressing it again will turn the lights off. To switch your fans to the motherboard software, you simply hold down a button for 3 seconds and this will cause the fans to blink red twice. And now you can control them via the software. And that pretty much wraps up our review of a Thermaltake V200 tempered glass RGB chassis. A visually stunning chassis with some premium features right out of the box, such as tempered glass panels, tinted glass and acrylic, smooth minimalistic styling, plenty of storage mounting options, 4 included 120mm fans with 3 of them being RGB fans, a controller, PSU shroud and lots of cooling options. Considering the amount that you get with this case and the flexibility of it combined with a stunning aesthetics, it's very difficult not to consider V200, which is why we are pleased to award the V200 our Gadget Joe Gold rating of 4 stars. While it's not the most premium feeling chassis, it certainly looks premium, and considering that the entire case costs less than £70, it's a lot of bang for your buck. What's more, at the time of this review going out, Scan Computers are selling everything you see here and a 550W PSU too for the same price. So be sure to head over to their site now and grab one before they go. As always, I will leave a link below, and if you liked this video, leave a thumbs up and don't forget to click subscribe for more like this. Stay tuned for an RGB build video coming up soon with this very chassis and the ASRock X470 Master SLI combined with a Ryzen 7 2700X to see the full potential of what this case can really bring to the table. And that's it from me, and I'll see you in the next video.